Hi, this is Josh, the owner of Shamma Sandals, and today on Run With Us, we are at Sierra Azul Open Preserves here in the Santa Cruz Mountains, and we're about to run to the top of Mount Umunhum at 3,400 feet. So let's get going.
The way I see it, home's just on the other side of that mountain. Should be there before nightfall.
Shadow, is that you?
There you go. I don't know we were selling snowshoes. Don't take these to Tahoe in February. The cold doesn't bother me anyway. It was like that. It was like a punk song.
Okay, so I didn't know how to pronounce it. It's called Mount Umunhum, and it's one of the highest peaks in the Santa Cruz Mountains. There's only one, I think, that's higher, which is Loma Prieta, which is a few miles, maybe 10, 15 miles south of here. But this one gets up to over 3,400 feet, which is pretty high. And I think today we're gonna be gaining about 1,200 feet to get to the peak. There's all kinds of views of the South Bay, San Jose, all the way up to the bay. And it's a really clear day today. It's February and Santa Cruz has been cold, really cold, at least for Santa Cruz. And right now it's probably in the mid to upper 30s while we're running. And
which is, for us, that's a once in a lifetime thing.
We have relatives that live in Alaska, and so this is child's play, obviously.
Scoffing.
But for us weak coastal folk, it's a lot.
Our relatives in Alaska, they've experienced weather commonly that is 80 degrees colder than it currently is right now. That's madness, pure madness.
This trail is really nice. It's really well maintained. So far it's just been switchback after switchback, which makes the running, even though we're going straight up, it's pretty manageable. And if it keeps up like this, it's gonna make for a really nice trip. So it's really, really cold out here. This reminds me of when I was in Scotland in December 2017. I was with my brother who was studying in Edinburgh, and he's finishing up his degree. And so I went over there with him, and I was running around Arthur's Seat, which is the mountain there, and there's a trail around it. The whole thing's probably about 3.5, 4 miles, but Edinburgh at that time of year, it doesn't really get much warmer than 30, 32 degrees, something like that. And I was running around in my sandals like a crazy person, but it was really cool. It was really an amazing experience, and just awesome to get to run some pretty unique places.
The way I see it, home's just on the other side of that mountain. Should be there before nightfall.
Shadow, is that you?
There you go.
Like, so we have about a mile and a half to the summit. It's freezing. One of the neat things about this run is getting to a higher elevation while still in the Santa Cruz Mountains. Usually when we come over the summit between Santa Cruz and San Jose on Highway 17, I think it's around 1,800 feet. We're gonna be like a full 1,500 to 1,700 feet higher in a moment. Also, this is a new run for me. I used to work here in Almaden Valley. Is basically where we started from. and you'd see the mountains up behind us, and there was this whitish concrete building at the top, and I always kind of wondered about it, but that's actually where we're going today. So we'll check that out. But it's cool, just getting to see a new place and explore more of sort of the backyard I've been living in all these years. Sean, what is that? This is pretty exciting for us, isn't it?
I think it's a lot of lost contraband. I think this is just a lot of cocaine.
Are they smuggling it over the pass?
They're smuggling from Santa Cruz to Almaden.
And the only
yeah, that's refined.
Are you supposed to taste it rather than sniff it, Sean? What do the cops always do? They taste it, right?
Yeah.
They don't sniff it.
Well, do I look like a cop to you?
No, we have some snow here, right?
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool. And it just proves how cold it is.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't feel my toes earlier.
Sean, you're not selling the sandals very well right now.
Well, I don't know we were selling snowshoes. Don't take these to Tahoe in February.
Look, more snow on the trail. Maybe a good day for toe socks, huh?
Yeah, definitely.
Snow is such a rarity here in Santa Cruz. I mean, we get it when we go to the Sierras, and that's always fun, but a couple weeks ago, it snowed in the Santa Cruz Mountains, and we went with another family. They took their kids out of school. Our kids, we didn't do school that day either, and we all went up to near the summit, and we played in the snow all morning. So that gives you a little perspective of like what snow is like here in the Santa Cruz Mountains. It's pretty rare and fun when it happens. I really wish I had some kind of container or way of like bringing back a handful of snow to my girls from the mountain. That'd be awesome. Love doing stuff like that. As far as this run is concerned, I think it would be a decent run, even in the summer. Even if it was really hot out, I'd say 80% of this run has been in the trees. We're just now coming out of the trees, and I don't think we'll be in them again as we're getting to the summit. But all that shade would actually, it'd be pretty manageable, I think. So if you're thinking in warmer weather, I think it'd be pretty doable. So we're making the final ascent, and it's getting really neat up here. We're starting to get some big views of multiple parts of the Bay Area, and I think we're gonna get a 360-degree view up at the top. We're just running on the road. I didn't really see any other trails, so we're heading to this huge building up here. So this was apparently an Air Force station from the 1950s all the way to 1980, and there were a lot of families up here, full community. People lived here year round. This building just looks like a shed when you're down in Almaden Valley, but when you get here, it's massive building. We did it. We got to the summit. I don't know if this is barracks or there's our home just down the mountain, a little jaunt down the mountain in Santa Cruz. So if you probably went to the other side of that mountain right there, like in between that mountain and that mountain is Highway 17, and the way we come from Santa Cruz, go through the mountains and all the way up there. You can see to San Francisco that direction, right? Oakland over there. You can see San Jose here. you can see how far the bay creeps down into the Santa Clara Valley, which is kind of a, I've talked about it before, but it's pretty amazing when you see it. This mountain that we're on is actually, it's called Umunhum, and it means hummingbird. This was part of the missile defense system here on the West Coast, and they had a huge radar on top, huge rotating radar, and it was apparently one of the biggest ones ever built, and it was out there scanning out a few hundred miles into the Pacific to see if there was going to be a nuclear threat from Russia, and they would send information to NORAD, and they could scramble jets and all that to try and intercept. Really an interesting place, and there's a ton of history here. We were on the summit, and it was actually warming up a little bit because there was some sun out there. We went back in the trees, and it immediately dropped 15, 20 degrees. And Sean goes, "The cold doesn't bother me anyway." And it just made me think of my daughter, Hannah, who, when she was like 3 and 4,
Like every other little girl.
like every other little girl from that time period, was just absolutely in love with Frozen and Queen Elsa. Hannah used to be in our living room, and she'd have her Queen Elsa dress on, and we'd start the video, and she had it all set up. She was all practiced. She'd throw her hair back or whatever else it does, and then do all the twists and all the turns, you know, through the whole song while she's singing "The Cold Doesn't Bother Me Anyway." I'd love it if she'd still sing like that. It's just the cutest thing in the world. And now our youngest, Abby, she's the one that's singing and just totally, you know, no self-awareness, which is great. She's just so much fun to listen to. Hannah's still awesome though, in different ways now.
Well, back in that time period, Hannah would also just take any excuse to sing it. And one time she was waiting in the car for Josh while I was doing something in the workshop. And she just stuck her head out the car and, with no regard for anyone, roared that song as loud as she could. "The cold doesn't bother me anyway." It was like that. It was like a punk song, because she just needed as many people to hear it as possible.
We just finished our run. It was about 7.5 miles. I wanted to say that besides the cold, it was really an awesome run. There were incredible views at the top of Mount Umunhum, and also the fact that even though we gained a ton of elevation, the switchbacks really made it manageable. So this is a great place to run. It'd be a great place to hike, and hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, please reach out in the comment section below. We'd love to hear from you. See you next time on Run With Us. Thanks for running with us. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the subscribe button.